Hello, Tommy.
Hey, Bernhard.
Nice to have you here today in Munich.
Great to be here.
Thank you very much. Maybe you can introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah. So my name is Thomas PARISH. I am the president of Rinsley Corp in America. We are the owner of the technology Ferox that we manufacture in the USA, ship all over the world, but we're excited for this event that's coming.
Thank you. Ferox is on the market already since many years. Maybe you'll tell us a little bit about the history of Ferox.
So a little bit of the history, I guess condensed, would be started with my father, who's a PhD chemist. Started his chemical company in 1970. Did contract manufacturing with ATK Thiokol in the 80s. They were the ones building the solid rocket boosters for the shuttle program, for the Hercules program, and developed our Ferox product out of this project for burn rate modifiers for the shuttle program. And then basically since the late 1980s have been developing and advancing our technology till now. We have the solid patented technology, which is the only one in the world. We're very excited with the expansion that we're having.
Thank you. If people hear the first time the word Ferox and they are asking you, what is Ferox? What would you explain to them?
So the Ferox word in Greek actually means fierce. In the combustion environment, there's a lot of things that are not addressed with normal combustion, which the Ferox brings into that chemistry and helps the fuel burn a lot more efficiently. But it is fierce with regard to what it does in the carbon deposits and burning them off naturally. Also very powerful in what it does at reducing emissions and pollution in the atmosphere. And this is something that is not put into the fuel naturally, so it's an addition to a problem that's never really been addressed.
So there are some outstanding, unique selling points of Ferox, far ahead from all the competition products. Tell us something about that.
So part of that goes to how in the US, the EPA recognizes our technology compared to all the other technology that's in the marketplace. Almost 99% of the products in the market are what they call baseline additives. And our technology, the Environmental Protection Agency recognizes ours as an atypical additive, meaning that it has a combustion catalyst function. That makes us very different from what's in the marketplace, in that our product does not change any fuel specifications. And almost all the other products are shifting or modifying some of the fuel specifications, but ours is focused on just the combustion process that makes it a better process that these other companies haven't really focused on.
So the very cool thing I experienced on this product is that you can use it in all different types of fuel. Most of the other products you can only use in diesel or in gasoline. But Ferox can be used in many different fuels, types of fuels.
Every type of fuel. So from heavy fuel oil to diesel to petrol or gasoline, kerosene, also into the gaseous fuels, LPG, LNG, propane. So that product that my father created in our solid version works across all of the fuel spectrums. It's amazing. So is applicable for every industry that we can touch.
So from the logistical perspective, this product is available for all around the world. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the potential of the impact that Ferox can do?
Well, compared to liquid formulations, for example, to treat the amount of fuel that a 55-gallon drum would treat of our product, that is about 200 kilograms weight, plus it's flammable or combustible. Our product only weighs, to treat that same amount of fuel, would be about 7 kilograms. So the logistics, we've basically taken the world and made it into a very small area for logistics on where we can ship, how we can store, the safety of handling. It makes it so much easier It's just an aspect of understanding the logistics of how we treat the fuel depending on the customer that we're working with. Yeah, it's amazing.
Thinking about fuel resources, it doesn't matter if it's fossil fuels or biofuels, the resources are very important. And if you add Ferox to those type of fuels, you will save those resources. What you can say to that?
So essentially, our opportunity is coming from the way that the market has progressed over the last 30, 40 years. And the fuels that are available around the world, diesel fuel hasn't changed significantly other than they've taken sulfur out of it, which contributes to sulfur oxide fuels or emissions. But our application to it anywhere in the world, even with the renewable fuels or sustainable fuels, the combustion process is combustion chemistry, so it happens a certain way. So even these cleaner renewable fuels still produce pollution. And how our product works across that backbone of all the combustion process, it's making it better, making it more efficient. So even the impact on renewable fuels, we can reduce that carbon impact. On hydrocarbon fuels, we're reducing that carbon impact per unit of fuel based on just promoting a more cleaner combustion process.
So talking about carbon credits, do you think that Ferox can have an impact on this discussion?
Absolutely. And the reason is, I think there's a lot of sensitivity in the market right now with this term called greenwashing, where companies are essentially offsetting their carbon footprint without changing anything that they actually do or making it cleaner. So if someone in the other side of the world is doing something clean and they produce a carbon credit, I buy that and apply it to me and change nothing. But the beauty is that what we're doing affects the geography, the operations for those companies in the area where they work. So it affects everybody around us. So the consumer side also, the choices that we make for the areas that we live in, we can make a measurable impact and make the environment cleaner and better where we live. And it can be quantifiable. And that can be applied to carbon reduction, which we can measure and prove that it's real.
So on the chemical level, you add Ferox to all different types of fuels. But what does it make? What will be changed if you burn this fuel with Ferox?
So the process of combustion basically has 3 steps: ignition, propagation, and termination. And Ferox is working on that propagation and termination side. That's where we deal with all of the pollution that exists in the environment, on how quickly and efficiently that fuel is burning once it starts. And like I said, the industry developed these additives to deal with handability, stability, like octane, ignition point of the fuels, but nothing deals with that propagation and termination side. So it's like an open market for us that nobody was really focused on, because the entire market started focusing on these other things that were necessary for the fuel. So where we come into play, it makes that measurable difference for just the combustion process and all of the problems that come from burning fuel on the backside.
So the positive results for the clients and the environment, what are the 3 to 4 most important benefits from Ferox?
So I would say the first one would be that improved combustion efficiency, which can equate to value that the customer sees. We just got some communication from Taiwan, where they've been testing on, I think it was over 100 cars or something.
I think 150.
Yeah, 150 cars. And they're seeing that their car for the same tank of fuel is going 100 kilometers more on every tank. That's value that we give to the people. That's without having to buy more fuel. And of that fuel that they're burning, it's getting them further without having to invest in any more fuel. Plus, we know that because of that, that environment around where they're operating is cleaner and better because of it. So the value is the first thing that they may see. The second thing is that car that we buy, it's very expensive, especially today. everything is more expensive. So making the things that we invest in that are expensive last longer and go further is more important than ever. So the engine will actually stay cleaner longer because we're actually burning off the deposits which affect and degrade the engine. It also keeps that oil cleaner, which is like the lifeblood of that engine. And so those two things I think are very powerful, but also operational efficiencies for businesses. That's money that they'll see directly in their profit statements. So they're more profitable because of that. And also not having to buy new equipment as often, or the maintenance side of things. It doesn't have the wear and tear or maintenance that would be required for an engine that had to be cleaned on the inside. We're taking care of that naturally as they burn the fuel. So I think it's a very powerful proposition for people, and the value that they see would come from what they're measuring and what they're looking at in their operations to see where that value is.
Ferox seems also to have a positive impact on the exhaust emission systems, or the exhaust systems. We see savings in AdBlue and other things. What is your experience on that level?
So the beauty is that we live in a time where our governments have created these regulations around emissions, and the manufacturer of the vehicles have to comply with the government regulations, and those emission control systems are taking a lot of work, and we pay for that. So on the emission side, without even being able to see economy increase, we know that the product will decrease the particulate and some of the harmful emissions by 50 up to 80%, meaning that you're no longer going to have to use as much AdBlue, which is a secondary like additive pack that's reducing NOx emissions. So if we're doing a better job allowing you to capture as much energy as possible, then those secondary things that you pay for no longer have to work as hard. We put your money where your work is and where your operations are and where you want to go.
So that means, just imagine all people in a big city and all industrial processes would add Ferox. What type of impact you would see on this big city?
We're actually working with the state of Utah over this summer to do some validation testing for this purpose. But the benefit is over a population, the amount of fuel they consume, if everybody was using Ferox, would quantifiably reduce that without changing any behavior. Meaning I don't have to tell you to ride your bike today because it will make a better impact. If you need to drive, you're still making a difference every time you drive, just with that little tablet that you decide to put in your car. So for those things, I think it's a measurable impact that we can see and quantify over time with the use of our product. It's real.
So smog is a huge problem for, I would say, billions of people on this planet. How we will deal with Ferox and the smog in the world?
Well, the smog is fine particulate, which is also connected to inefficient or incomplete combustion. So the smog and all the other harmful emissions are basically reduced over that work because we're allowing that fuel to burn in the combustion chamber where you get the most value out of it. So same thing, smog, NOx emissions, sulfur oxide emissions for higher fuel or higher sulfur fuels. All those things are reduced because less is needed for that same operation.
So Ferox meets all the specifications for aviation kerosene under ASTM 1655. Great news.
Yes, we're very happy with this certification that we have now, and it's opened the door with our partner in the aviation market, which we believe will make a massive impact, positive impact, because the Ferox actually is promoting CO2 on a small level, reducing CO2 over volumes of fuel if we do that more efficiently. But aviation is basically, the turbine engines are powered by thrust, and the promotion of CO2 creates more thrust. Mm-hmm. That alone should be able to demonstrate powerful efficiency improvements, emission reduction, same thing. So all the air that we breathe will be cleaner from the aviation fuel potentially in the future.
So the glaciers will be cleaner in the future
Yes,
again.
we'll have glaciers again. That's what we believe.
Okay. Awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
But also, Ferox can be used in heavy fuel shipping, in the shipping industry, containers, container ships. This, I think, will be also a huge market for the future.
Yes, all the fuel markets, I mean, our world runs on fuel. Everyone's trying to push away from that until we meet that point where there's cleaner, better energy. We can make a real positive, measurable impact on all the fuels, so the shipping included, huge amounts of fuel. And their pollution, they're basically dumping into the ocean.
So you think that the impact for those ships will not just be fuel savings, but also other benefits?
So the fuel savings are a big component of what the Ferox can offer our customers. On the heavy fuel oil, it's the dirtiest fuel at the bottom of the barrel that doesn't distill through these towers to give us cleaner fuels. So the impact of that is going to be more on the emission side than the efficiency side. We might only see 3%, 4% improvements in efficiency on HFO or heavy fuel oil, but the impact on the emissions is going to be enormous. We know the particulate and the other harmful byproducts that come from, heavy fuel oil. The product is working very hard to minimize that or reduce it significantly.
So you experienced positive feedbacks from power plants in the past. What are the results from this testing?
So in Guatemala City, we are working with it was a textile mill that was also a power plant that would supply power to the main city grid. And all we had to do was demonstrate a 3% improvement in efficiency, and then they could bid every day and get their bid because they were lower than the competition. So it was off-selling their excess electricity potential that was powering the city. And these are massive generators that were running on Ferox treated fuel. It was beautiful.
And the city will also have clean air in the future by using Ferox.
Yeah.
Some people ask me why Ferox is not already in the big oil companies as an additive. But time is changing, and we see huge success with Ferox outside in the world. Tell us a little bit about some news.
Yeah, part of this exciting development is coming from the whole global pressure to reduce our carbon footprint. And the oil companies are also having to do things to be responsible for the fuel that they sell. So efficiency is now the focus on across the world. And a demonstration of this in the past, the big oil companies don't want to sell less fuel. They make their money by us consuming and burning as much fuel as possible. But we actually have a partner in South America, in Peru, massive partnership. We're going to be bulk treating all of their LPG for industrial and commercial use in the marketplace, covering potentially 1 to 3 countries in South America. So they will be our point of distribution, and we're affecting wherever that fuel goes. It's making a difference for their customers and also for the environment, everything. So it's a step in the direction where I believe in the future we'll be partnering with some of these oil providers that are desperately looking to reduce their carbon impact, and we can help them do that.
But I think also governments could be interested, and there are the first successes of Ferox.
Yeah, we actually have the government of Vietnam that's partnered with us for the impact that we make on the environment. They want to be an example in the global market to show that they're doing things responsibly. We've also are in discussions with Saudi Arabia, who is a massive fuel supplier in the world, but they subsidize their fuel in their country. So we can help them be even more profitable, plus make a low carbon fuel that's offered to the marketplace that's far exceeds any other fuel without our product in it.
So the globe is very big, and you will need many people to organize and distribute this wonderful product on the world. What is your vision to grow this product all over the world?
So the biggest aspect of where we're going is a process of our unification on our global operations. We're over probably close to 50 countries now and growing aggressively. And what we're launching here at this event is this unification process of our ferox.world domain, but also the backbone that's going to manage all of our operations to simplify and create transparency everywhere our product is going. And so all of our partners will have access through this unification process, because the reality is we only make a difference if we do it together. So this aspect of where we're going is going to be a collaboration of a lot of different governments, a lot of different people, consumers. It's this family that we're building that's going to be our Ferox family, and it's going to be real with regard to the impact that we can make. It's very exciting with things that are happening now.
I can feel that it makes a difference for people by using their Ferox pills every time they fill up their cars. They get remembered that they do something good, not just for themselves, but for all of us together and for the environment.
Absolutely. The difference would be, I mean, across the world right now, fuel prices are higher than they ever have been. And a lot of people that I talk to complain about filling up just their personal car with how much money it costs. There's inflation happening, and there's a lot of people that are stressed about the future, concerned about these things. And when they put one of these little tablets into their car, it's not so much the product, but the action of what they're choosing to do. And the people that realize that value and realize what we do together, they're no longer complaining about it. Because the point is, what I do with this fuel, I choose to do something good with it. And I'm a part of something that's way bigger than I am. So the excitement is, instead of people being angry when they're filling their car up, they have a smile on their face when they drop the Ferox in, because they're choosing to do something that they know is worth it. It's amazing to see. And people coming back to me and telling their exciting stories of their experience of using the product, whether it's racing or just going on a family trip, or fleets that are transporting products across the US, and they communicate back to us the exciting aspect of what they experienced in the product. Mm-hmm. And this is something that we're inviting people to be a part of.
So you produce Ferox in the United States, potentially for the whole planet. Mm-hmm. People asking, is the production efficient? Do you look on the environment also already on the production steps and your packaging strategy?
Mm-hmm. So to date, nobody has ever been able to challenge our manufacturing capacity. Even for what we could potentially produce for the entire country of Saudi Arabia, treating all of their fuel, we could produce enough to treat that entire country's fuel supply and what they sell in a matter of maybe 3 months for what they would produce in an entire year. So we haven't even been touched with regard to what our capacity is, but probably within the next year to 2 years at the most, we're going to be building a new manufacturing facility that will have even a capacity greater than what we are to meet all of our global demands. But right now, we can meet any demand that our customers around the world would provide us in orders, whatever the quantity would be.
And the environmental impact of your production processes, are they efficient in comparison to the benefits?
Yeah, we're actually looking at that. So we're in the process of going through a life cycle analysis, what they call an LCA. We looked at the manufacturing process and how much CO2 would be attributed to every 1 gram of product that we manufacture. And the powerful aspect of this is 1 gram of our Ferox product would take about 22.3 grams of CO2 to produce it. At a 1% improvement in efficiency in diesel fuel, we're eliminating 4,027 grams of CO2 just by improving the efficiency. So 22 to 4,000 value benefit reduction in CO2 in the environment. That's a really powerful metric.
So it's 200 times more positive impact than the production tips.
At 1%, where we see our customers typically averaging out is between 5 and 7, sometimes greater. But at 5%, it's almost 1,000 times more beneficial than it is going into making our product. Very efficient production, but also the value in the fuel is so powerful. I don't know if there's any other product that can do something like that in the environment, real, quantifiable difference.
And what's about your packaging strategy?
Our packaging strategy? So we're primarily focused on the solids because of the logistics globally. It allows us to ship almost anywhere in the world in just a few days, treat any amount of fuel that we needed to. It can be air freighted, doesn't have to go by containers. And the packaging strategy for our consumer product in our tin tablets that treat 75 liters, that product eliminates 99% of the plastics in the environment. The traditional additives, the liquid ones that you dump in, would be treating that same amount of fuel. So with one package of our Ferox product, you're eliminating 99% of the plastic that typically would be used for that. It's so powerful.
And it's even recyclable, I think.
Yeah, we actually have new packaging here in Europe. Super excited about this because now it's recyclable. So even though we still have this small package, it's less of a footprint than the bottles and plastic that's out there, but now we have the recyclable bag that still protects the product. And then it just makes it so much easier for our customers and everyone. Very happy with this.
You and I both, we have kids, we love our kids, and we think about the future and about the environment. And one of my most motivations, my biggest motivations is to think about what we can do, what we can change in the world. And as a result of this project, rolling out Ferox worldwide, what is your biggest motivation to achieve?
I think probably the biggest thing is building our community for a better future for my kids. My son that's in college right now, he's very excited and open to what we talk about, what we can do together. I feel like the community that we can build is going to be something that is going to be so rewarding for everyone that's involved, because it is something that's real, and it's something that's exciting, and it's something that's good, and it fits everybody's like pocketbook. It fits everybody's vehicle or transportation. Granted, electrification, we don't work on electric cars, but electric cars even take energy that's produced from hydrocarbon fuels to power them. So there's always going to be an area where we see value in what we can do until we no longer need fuel, which I don't know if that will ever happen in my lifetime. But we can make a difference right now. It's not we're waiting for something in the future to come to us or for us to arrive at something. Right now. Until we get to that place, we can do something valuable, real, and good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Bernard.